All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the H&M Sports Academy. Let's go, everyone.
Yeah.
My name is Mo. This is Harry. We are live. We are here on a victory Sunday. I don't know how many times we're going to have a Sunday when both teams that we cover, that we feature here, get the dub. We'll have a lot more of that with
Yeah.
the Lakers because we only
Hey,
covering the one team.
and I'm on a 4-game heater, so when you're
You
on a
on
I ain't
a 4-game heater.
heater. On
I'm
fire.
waiting. I'm waiting for you to show up on here with a mustache that you just won't shave.
I'm trying to get away from my nervous and my superstitious habits, so I'm not even buying into the I gotta have the same outfit on. I gotta
Yeah,
have the same socks on. I can't change
socks,
my
shorts.
yeah.
Wifey, look, hey, wifey not having it. She not
Hey,
having it. So
hey man, we're a sound football team, so this is what I should get used to: consistency and winning, man. So that's
that's
the
it.
I'm
That's
not
it.
living in my as Tomlin say, I don't live in my fears, man. I'm not living in my fears.
So welcome to the sports to H&M Sports Academy tonight. We are here to cover some NFL action. Get ready. The NBA season is about to kick off. We cover the NBA. We
Yeah.
feature the Los Angeles Lakers. We feature the Dallas Cowboys. We feature the Chicago Bears. Tonight, we will do a recap of the Chicago Bears hosting the New Orleans Saints in victory 26-24, and the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Washington Commanders, getting a victory, doubling them up 44-22.
Yeah.
And both teams are rolling. The Bears are on a 4-game heater, all kicked off by their victory over Dallas 4 games ago.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are trying to find their way to get some consistency and get some consecutive wins. But we'll take what we can get right now and stay in that 500. And so the backdrop from these games is very. We're going to talk about the Saints and the Bears first. The Saints are on the road going to Chicago. And I swear, every week I look up and there is a revenge game for
Yeah.
somebody. Every
Mm-hmm.
week. And this week, it was Dennis Allen's turn
Yes.
to welcome in the Saints, the team that he was coaching last year as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he was given the boot, sent packing,
Yeah.
um, did the best he could, probably didn't have the resources he needed, probably didn't have the quarterback he needed. But at
That's
the
it.
end of the day, he had to go. Saints let him go. And of course, he's thinking, y'all gave up on me, so I'm trying to get revenge.
You gave up on me? On me. So the interesting part about every week we talk about just the overlap, right? Around whether it's careers. You had Caleb and Spencer Rattler, with Caleb taking his job in Oklahoma. So you
Yep.
had a little bit of, they tried to build that up, but just didn't have enough traction there to make it stick.
Right. Right.
Dennis Allen, kind of the same story. But we know these guys are competitors. The egos are big. So even though it
Yep.
wasn't like national news and national, huge story, there was
Yep.
a lot of, I think, underlying. I call those embers, man. Them embers just glowing in the background, and you got a lot of motivation to prove not people wrong, but prove yourself right, right. And I think this
Yeah.
was a kind of a prove yourself right game for Dennis Allen, man.
For sure. For sure. So that's the backdrop going into this game on top of the Bears trying to get a W. The Saints really, was a team in transition. They got a lot of issues with the salary cap. They got a lot of issues with their personnel. They're
Yeah.
trying to find their quarterback. They got a new coach who had not been coaching at all before. So he's not only just a new coach for them, but this is a new coach in his experience as well as a head coach.
Yeah.
But he's a Super Bowl champion, Kellen Moore. So he does have that going for him. So you have the Saints trying to get some traction, and the Bears is trying to become a team that is able to win a game that they're supposed to win. And
Mhm.
trust me, in the NFL, when you are a young team or a developing team, that is one of the hardest steps to
Oh man.
take.
Yeah.
trying to become a team that wins when you're a favorite, when you're supposed to win. There's no excuses,
Right.
and you show up and play well and get out of there with a W and move on to the next week. So that's what we have going into this game. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
talk about the offense for the Saints and how they stacked up against the defense of the Bears.
Yeah.
So I want you to give me a little bit of drop back there. You know, the Bears are coming off a little bit of uh, a break. I won't say a break, but they played Washington, but they come off of a bye and they started to get healthy. So that
Mm-hmm.
little break right there kind of gave the Bears a chance to kind of steady themselves up as far as the defense is concerned, get some people
Yeah.
back, get some people healthy. And so they were looking to kind of show a little muscle here now that they got some of their pieces back, and Dennis Allen had some time to implement his system. So how
Mm-hmm.
did that play out in your mind from what you saw?
You know, I think defensively, they don't have a bunch of huge names. I think that Cam Jordan's kind of long in the tooth now, right? A defensive tackle, their defensive end, a position that he plays. I truly expected us to come out and dominate and play really well offensively, and I've had to temper my expectations a little bit, right? And this is where I want, as I'm talking to the Bears fans. So
Are you you're talking about the Bears offense? I mean, I'm sorry, the Saints offense.
No, I was talking about the Bears. I'm gonna get to the Saints offense. I'm gonna get to it.
Okay.
I was just saying,
Okay.
for the backdrop, I think I walked into this game thinking it was going to be a shootout. Is what I was trying to get
Okay.
to, right?
Yeah.
Because Spencer Rattler, they coming in with nothing to lose, right? So I figured, they were going to leave it all on the field. They just came out of a big game against the Patriots where they lost a close one at home. And, again, I got to, as we look at these games and try to forecast what's going to happen, it's not always that easy, right, to make these predictions. So I think with the Saints, you walk in with Shaheed, you walk in with Kamara back there, running back. So two explosive guys, and Spencer Rattler at quarterback. So Dennis Allen came in, his MO, Dennis, we talked about it a while now. Dennis's MO is get pressure, right? I don't think he was going to go into this game and let Spencer Rattler get comfortable. And coming out of this game, that was probably my biggest takeaway with Dennis Allen, man. He really got up in front of what I call just up the intensity level. Got up in their faces, a lot of man-to-man, a lot of double mug where you mug the line, and we were sending corner safeties. I thought we was a hockey switch, man. The way I saw guys running off the sidelines coming in, to get after Spencer Rattler. So our defense has been riding high too. Coming from that Cowboys game, it's starting to go from highly opportunistic to this is our identity and this is who we are, man. We creating turnovers. We got healthy last week against the Commanders. We got a bye week. TJ Edwards back, Kyler Gordon back. You got some consistency in our second week in a row. Short week. So, last time we were in this situation against Detroit, we definitely didn't play like we needed to play on defense. So I say all that to say Dennis Allen had us laser focused on defense from the first snap. First series, we created a turnover, strip sack from Sweat. And for that whole first half, -1 drive right before the half, it was lights out, man. So offensively, they were overmatched from the jump. We never really felt pressured in the sense of them being able to dictate terms to us. And even when they scored, it was off of I call more busts on our end than it was them just driving the ball and kind of out physicaling us down the field. So that's my take offense versus defense. Yeah.
They scored right before the half.
Yeah.
And then they came out and scored in the second half, in the third quarter, and kind of closed the gap a little bit there. Did you have some
Yeah, they double dipped it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they actually executed a double dip, and I mean I would think for
Mm-hmm.
them, even though they didn't win the game, that's a little bit of a plus for them to say, hey, look, man, this is what we want to be going
Yeah.
forward to be able to execute that. They weren't able to continue it, but if they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to get back in the game, that's the way to do it. So did
It
you
was
um
so
did you
odd.
see?
It was so odd. So we had
Yeah,
dominated the whole game, and
yeah,
between the interceptions and the the strip sack and everything, and then right
yeah,
before the half, we pin them down with a beautiful punt on the 9-yard line,
right.
and it's like 50 seconds, and they go right down the field in 5 plays. Man, the NFL just kills me. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
And Dennis Allen, again, all gas, no brakes, man. He's still
yeah.
blitzing and sending people. And
Yeah, I
Tariq
know.
Stevenson, yeah.
Drop these guys back, man. Get a little soft on this coverage.
Hey, I had to call down to the sideline. Hey, man, go grab his damn axe, man. I know he gonna go to the he hung on to the axe from the Commanders, man. He trying to kill everything, man. Stay down.
Yeah,
And they scored. Chris Olave, he was so
he's so
quiet. He
good.
got injured, but he caught 2 touchdowns. And but anyway, yeah, they score right before the half, and then
Yeah,
they come right back out. And again, bang, 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 just kind of. And I'm not gonna get into the penalties. I know you didn't get a chance to see certain
yeah,
plays. We talked about it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
when we talk about the physicality, for some reason the Bears, and I don't want to say for some reason, the Bears have been bad for so long that
yeah.
I think the expectation is you had to commit a penalty or you won't get the the reason of the doubt. And coming out of the half, Kyler Gordon hits Alvin Kamara and folds him up and contorts his body all weird. And the announcer says, yeah, he had to go helmet to helmet with him, and they show it in slow-mo, and he was nowhere near this guy's head, man. He hits him in the shoulder, and it extends the drive. And in the NFL, you get a 15-yard penalty. You go from stopping them to a 15-yard penalty. You extend the drive, and then they go and, hit us with a big – we lost a tight end in coverage, and now, they kind of, like you said, they closed that gap quickly. But at the very core of it, those were really their biggest, what I call, drive, igniters. I thought it was through penalty or was through some sort of what I call it's kind of fluky in my eyes,
Yeah, yeah. Understood. And that's the thing in the NFL. All of these teams got talent, man. And even when you try to say, okay, yeah, they don't have a lot, and then you look up there, man. Olave is about as good as any receiver you're gonna come across. Man. He's so good. He's got these injuries, he's got these issues with these concussions and stuff that he's had. But the dude can flat out play. I mean, he's only like a 300th Ohio State receiver. Man, God, bro, I don't know how they do it over there, man.
Unreal. I forget. I think it's Brian Hartline who's the wide receiver coach out there.
But I mean, before Brian Hartline, even when Brian Hartline was playing himself, Ohio State had good receivers. I mean, I don't want to go, but Joey Galloway was good. I mean, it just hard.
Ted Ginn.
It's just a factory, bro. And so Olave is another one of those dudes. And so, but yeah, that's the offense. Let me ask you this, okay? We'll wrap up there with the offense versus the Bears defense. Do you think that Spencer Rattler is a future prospect, a future quarterback? And he was highly touted in high school. We talked about the situation with Caleb Williams at Oklahoma. He makes his way into the NFL after coming down from South Carolina, switching schools, transfer portal, yada yada. Is this guy the quarterback for the Saints? Because with Kellen Moore and his explosive offense and the way he runs offense, your quarterback has to really be a dynamic guy, but he can make you look good also if you. What do you think?
No, and I say that respectfully. I say that respectfully.
Y'all have a good night.
No. You want some too, old man? No. Nah. Spencer Rattler, at best is a bridge quarterback. I think he'll be a high level, number two. His
Yeah,
his his
he's been a
ability to
backup for a
throw.
long time.
Yeah, I think he can find a role in a niche in
Yep.
short stints to keep continuity and kind of bridge the gap between either an injury or whether it be trying to find who your guy is. The only reason why
Yeah.
I say that is because Kellen Moore, the one thing that I do know about him is his system is built off of spacing, right? So a lot of trips, a lot of motion,
Yeah.
and mentally, I see him handling all of that. They didn't have a ton of pre-snap penalties. I thought they played a very clean, what I call just executionary game. But
Yeah.
post-snap, I think is where Spencer loses it, and that's where Kellen, he can't live in the turnovers, right?
Yeah.
And with him, you can manipulate his, you can dictate terms with him, and that's what Dennis Allen saw too. Remember when we talked about these fired coaches spending time with these QBs before they, get fired. So I think he went in with some tendencies and some things that he knew that would challenge Spencer Rattler, and he really, challenged him to make throws downfield in tight spaces and tight windows. And there were some moments, man, when you looked up to and you called it after that second touchdown. I looked at his stat sheet and I'm like, hell, it doesn't look too bad. 2 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, and it's a 2014 game. And, he looked like he could, cause some issues. And then, very next series, he throws ill-advised deep ball to Bayard. We picked that off and we turned that into 7 and kind of, got them back off track.
Pretty much.
Yeah, kind of sealed the fate, and then he had another interception towards the end that just it was 4th down, but at the end of the day, you gotta find a way to make a better play than that. So long-winded way of saying I think Spencer Rattler has the talent level to be a quarterback. I just don't be a good quarterback. I don't think he's gonna get the runway with Kellen Moore, because Kellen Moore is like, they drafted that kid out of Louisville, Slough, whatever that kid's name is. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
And I think that was they were reaching, and sometimes NFL teams do that. They see the size, they see the guy in the shorts, and they get him in the meeting room, and they show a lot better than they do, from their college tape. So I think the Saints, that's one of their big priorities this offseason is finding a guy to upgrade at that QB1 position for them. Yeah.
All right. Now, Spencer, one less vote you have.
I know.
Right there.
I know. My namesake. So sorry, Spencer. We can't. I can't do it. I can't lie. Man. I got to be objective.
And what did you see with the Saints when they had to defend your offense? The Saints have a couple of names over there still. They still got, I think they still got DeMario over there, and
they do.
They got a few edge guys that up front that they have from days gone by that can play. So you're like, okay, they can do some damage, and I think they had some success in some stretches against Caleb and the offense, but clearly not enough. It looked like they struggled to stop the run, and Swift had a very solid day, and got some decent numbers there. So you kept the balance there. So there's not enough horses really for the Saints to really do any damage there, and really make that a part of a comeback on their end. But what did you see when you look at the offense of the Bears versus the Saints?
Yeah, and this is kind of piggybacking what I started off with. I got to change my expectations a little bit for the Bears offense, even though we got a lot of weapons on offense.
Yeah.
And the Saints, like you said, they between Cam Jordan, I think Kool-Aid McKinstry, and then the linebacker DeMario Davis. Outside of that, they're kind of a no-name outfit. They rally around the ball. Brandon Staley. So remember Brandon, he was over out in
Yeah.
with the Rams.
With,
He's the
with
D
the with the
coordinator.
Rams and then the
Yeah,
Chargers got
and then the
fired there.
Chargers,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And to me, they went too high. So they basically they showed and throughout the game they were showing every time they blitzed Caleb, he killed them, absolutely
Yeah.
torched them.
Yeah.
When they stayed in the shell and kept things in front of them, I won't even say they confused them. I think they dared Caleb to make the sound decisions. I'll be very candid. And Caleb struggled with that today, whether it be through not just go ahead and we talk about that. We talked about that with Dak last year, just before we even started this podcast. Sometimes just go take the scramble, right? He's throwing a lot of these, he's rolling right, rolling left, getting outside of the pocket, and just playing really what I call kind of backyard football, and it got us off schedule. And the Saints saw that and they said, okay. So they really just gave us a lot of too high safety. Ben Johnson, I think, went into the game and he had a great game plan to, attack it. And then as the game kind of progressed with all the turnovers on the defense and the short fields, he got a little bit of aggressive and was like, yeah, come on, let's try to put these guys away. And it was one of those games where we stalled out, multiple times in the red zone. And I don't know, Drew Dalman and this center snap exchange, we had multiple instances, whether it was a dropped shotgun snap. We had two false starts where the guy, Drew Dalman snapped the ball and didn't let it go twice.
Yeah.
And it's inexcusable at the NFL level. That's the first thing you learn in football.
100%.
How to get the damn
100%.
snap. And I can see Ben Johnson's head was about to explode. And I think that threw, not to give Caleb an excuse, I think because of some of the those happened on third down and fourth down, right? And those are instances where I think that got into Caleb's head. He was rushing, he was sped up. And the Saints, they said, you know what? We're just going to sit in a too high shell. And the reason why our run game really exploded and opened up is because they stayed in that too high shell so long that basically he ran them out of it. And at some point, the game was still within reach. So Brandon Staley's like, hey, I'll stay in it because we still connected, right? I don't need to get it's similar to an offense running the football when they're down 10. And we're just hoping that Caleb make a mistake.
Yeah.
Caleb threw an interception in the first half. In the second half, he played clean. So it kind of tilted back in our favor. But at the end of the day, because they don't have the horses, because they didn't have what I thought was a great individual matchups on defense, it caused them to, they just basically, almost played a zone and built a wall and said, hey, let's keep everything in front of us. We're not going to get beat deep or anything cheap, and we're going to make them drive the football. So, Caleb failed today's test. I was disappointed in how we played offensively and at least passing the football. And this is where I got to correct myself. Disappointed, I got to be more specific rather. Disappointed in how we executed passing the football, but running that football, bro, whew. I mean, Swift took a lot of heat the first two games. Actually,
he looks
last
good,
year.
Man.
And
he looks good.
He looks great. He had a sore groin. And between him and Kyle Monangai, we rushed for over 200 yards today. And when we played at the academy, remember Coach would talk, some days it's a bucket, some days it's a thimble, right? And you're looking at, I got to get at a mindset of what Caleb's stats should look like. How many touchdowns he should throw over the course of the season. That's going to work itself out. I think
it's an aggregate.
It's definitely an aggregate. His ascension or his progression won't be linear, and that's the other thing. I'm thinking it's not just going, every week you're going to see a positive step. So right now we're really here on offense, and today was one of those moments where, as a fan, I said, I had an epiphany. I said, it went from me, stressing, can we even compete?
Yeah.
How are we going to lose? To, hey, we can win a game, to 4, how we're winning games, right? So I'm at
Yeah.
step 4 in this whole process of I'm critiquing how we win games. So I'm like, hey, that's a positive, right? We
Yeah.
had 10 penalties for 92 yards, which is inexcusable in itself. And that's the other
Yeah.
piece of, this whole thing is, we got to
That's a
clean
big
up
number.
all these mistakes. And you talk about the hidden yards. These are the hidden yards, interceptions, penalties on offense. And we still come away with a 26 to 14, what was the score? Victory here.
Yeah.
And we played probably one of our worst games offensively. So what do you think practice looks like this week, right? You got guys who excited that they won, but now Ben can turn them screws, man. He can get in there and he can do what? I don't know what the hell y'all laughing about. The whole offense, y'all let us down this week. So he can turn those screws and really, hone in on cleaning this thing up. Defensively, it's a little bit different mood in the sense of, hey, can we keep it rolling, right? Can we continue to execute? I think they found a nice rhythm and how we can compete. And they've given the offense so many opportunities. The only worry in the back of my head is when you get these turnovers in droves, right? Eventually that well is going to dry up a bit, and we're going to need the offense to flip, right? And carry the defense and have the defense get that defense carried throughout some of this season. So really, offensively, I felt like throughout this game, we were in total control. We having a play caller like Ben, sometimes you get guys dialing it up in the passing game, and he had those moments where he's been able to dial it up passing. He's been dialing it up in this run game the last 2 weeks, man. Outside.
But that's the thing, when you got two people on the roof, when it comes to the too high look, that's what you're supposed to be able to do to run them out of it. And I can tell you, the history says if you can't run the ball with that shell look, that cover 2 shell look, you're doomed. You're done, because they'll never get out of it. You'll never be able to really complete a lot of passes down the field. They're gonna have you stymied. You're gonna have to wait, and the odds of you screwing it up either with a penalty or a mistake or a bust or a sack is so high. You're just gonna struggle all game long. But if you can run it and you can do it at will, all of a sudden, then the defense has to make a decision about, do they want to get out of it? And people tend to think that running the football is kind of like, slow, methodical. Not if you breaking them off in 8-yard chunks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I know exactly what you're saying. And that's the space of these past 2 weeks where Ben has looked at it, and he said, at a press conference, he said, hey, I spend more time with the running game than I have with the passing attack. And I think, we're not going to, everybody wants us to have this identity of the Detroit Lions, high flying, multiple touchdown passes with Goff and,
but they run that thing, man. Everything's off that running game, though.
Everything's off the running game, and our running game is just starting to take shape. But when I look at the minutia and the details, where the play action fake, the running back and the quarterback still aren't, really the running back's not giving us a hard enough, run fake. Caleb, not dialed in to where he's, hitting his read key. So Ben Johnson is looking at it, and he's probably like, super frustrated, but he's also on the side. He's like, my God, when we get this thing cleaned up and we coming in for, rushing 200 yards a game, and now we can sneak DJ Moore, we can sneak Roma Doomsday, we can sneak Luther Burden III behind, some of these linebackers. Again, a lot to mold and work with. And if you have a run game to do it behind, it makes it so much easier. When we get on that bus and we talk about it, what's the thing that you want to travel? Defense,
defense, run
game. Those are 2 things you could take with you on the road. You could take them at home. If those 2 things with you, you normally got a great shot at winning a football game. So I'm pleasantly surprised with the identity. I'm very familiar with the identity because that's what we've been doing my whole damn time as a Chicago Bear fan has been offense, 10-2 on the wheel, while the defense and, run game carry the team home. And I think Ben is he's ushering us into modern day football. It's just, taking a little bit,
Just
what I
extra
call
steps.
extra steps to get us there.
Hey, when you're going 4-2 doing it though, ain't nothing wrong with
Hey,
that. You know what I'm
I
saying?
ain't
Ain't
mad
nothing
at
wrong
it.
with that. That's what
I
I'm
ain't mad at
saying.
it at all. Yeah.
What you see with the kicking game, special teams? Is you see anything special there? I mean, this is a
Yeah.
pretty straightforward game.
It was.
You know,
It was. We still had Moody. So Cairo Santos was still
so you
battling
think
the
you
quad.
think Moody's gonna take Santos? I think Moody, he's kind of settling in now. Is he gonna take Santos' place? Because Cairo, we
Yeah,
talked about Cairo. I mean,
we did. We did.
we weren't high on Cairo earlier in the season. So I mean, I'm kind of feeling like Moody, who's been a starting kicker in this league before, he
Hmm.
might not give that thing up.
It's interesting because quiet as kept, Cairo Santos is the most accurate kicker in Chicago Bear history at 92%. And Soldier
Mm,
Field. So it's not an easy place to kick in. So
absolutely
I'm not gonna
not.
jump. Yeah, I'm not gonna jump the gun, but I do think Moody, we're gonna try to hide him as much as we can on this practice squad. But eventually somebody scoops him up who might run into some trouble, who might need a kicker. But to answer your question, honestly, I think he's given the Bears something to think about. Cairo Santos is actually for a kicker. He's making a pretty decent salary, right? That we can look around and we can say, hey, we could probably sign Moody to a much cheaper deal. He has a much stronger leg, and if his confidence gets right, it allows us offensively and we saw it today between the Packers, you guys hitting 61 yarders, 63 yarders.
Bro, it's crazy, bro.
It's a game changer.
It is. We'll talk about that when we get to these games. But man, bro, the 60 yarder, man, like, dude, you miss a 50 yarder, they're looking at you like, bro, what? Are you all right?
Right. And that's where we are with Cairo Santos. I think his leg he's 52, 53, but it's
Yeah,
dependent on conditions. It's dependent upon, some things that are
which
out
which
of
don't get better in the NFC North. There ain't no conditions, bro.
right.
Green Bay, Chicago, you know what I'm saying? Even if
Mm-hmm.
you got to go to Philly and all the other places,
You
the
do.
Northeast and stuff, there ain't no
You
conditions
do.
that's gonna get better. So that doesn't help.
No.
With that. So that's an interesting, though. Just a little side note that I'm watching that
Mm-hmm.
develop. So we'll see what happens. Right now, you're
It,
rolling. You're not losing no games because of the kicking game
yeah.
right now. You know.
Yeah. And it's a right quad, right? So to your point,
Mm,
those things take time, and over the
yeah.
course of a season, Moody, uh, you know, could potentially step in there
Mm.
and take that job, whether it be end of this year or into next season. I could definitely see it happening.
Okay. All right. Um, it felt like with Dennis Allen
Mm-hmm.
and Benny Johnson, obviously two good coaches.
Yeah.
Your secondary, Al Harris. We love Al
Mm-hmm.
Harris. It feels like your coaches are having more and more of an impact on the game. I don't think the Saints have a bad coaching staff so far right now. I don't think they're losing games because they can't coach. They just don't have the horses.
Yeah.
Um, but just the game plan that I saw with Dennis Allen coming in, what he dialed up, and the way Ben Johnson was able to make the adjustment as far as running them out of the cover two look.
Mm-hmm.
The way to turn Spencer Rattler over. It just feels like the coaching is just coaching to strengths, calling the right types of plays to get people in the right position so far.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
is allowing the guys to play fast. You see anything different?
I don't. Ben Johnson actually talked about that early this week in the press conference. How lucky he is to have a defensive coordinator like Dennis Allen, right?
Yeah.
And Dennis actually got the game ball today after and
Nice.
post game. The reality is, it's almost like we have a head coach of the offense, a head coach of the defense, and then Ben Johnson obviously is our total head coach. But I think he can truly go into the week knowing that he's going to get a high-level game plan and high-level coaching and execution
Yeah.
from out of his defense. So it frees him up during the week. And you and I both know
Yeah.
offensive head coaches who are offensive play callers, they need that bandwidth to lean into the offense and
Yeah.
special teams unit. So instead of having to operate at 100%, efficiency, Ben Johnson is able to operate at 66% efficiency of, I can focus on, two phases of the game and kind of connect with Dennis Allen and just, validate the game plan.
Infuse it in,
as opposed to having to worry about it. And he's actually, he feels bad because he's like, I can hear it in his voice in the press conference. He's like, Dennis Allen has given us so many short fields. It's almost like I'm not holding my end of the bargain up. And that's a weird space to be, right?
Yeah.
So, again, egos, competitive. I'm not saying there's anything working in between them in a negative way. I just think,
but they both trying to hold each other accountable, though.
Yeah, they holding each other accountable. And in this moment, as you're a young team trying to figure it out, having a defensive coordinator who's been through the fire, and in this post-game presser, he said something very interesting after he got the game ball. He said, sometimes, you're not good enough to be in other places, but he's like, I'm happy to be here, right?
That's right.
So, we've all been there as men where you give your best and we got these big aspirations, and when it doesn't come through, it sucks, but you go on, you pick yourself up. And I think Dennis has found a place in Chicago where I honestly think he's going to get another head coaching job. Today is 11:14 Eastern. I think he'll get another head coaching job here soon. I think New Orleans was a tough place to be because of what you said. They didn't find a quarterback, but as a head coach and as a leader,
they had no money either.
They hadn't had no money, and that whole, they were one of the teams, I think Loomis, where they didn't believe in the damn salary cap, and eventually it blew up in their faces.
My God, what the hell they was doing?
Just kind of got a raw deal. So I say all that to say, you throw in Al Harris to that equation with our secondary, and we got your boy Wright. I know you might. He had a beautiful interception today, great return. Kevin Byard had a great pick in the secondary, and allegedly Al Harris before the game is calling these turnovers. He's been telling the local beat writer, I think we'll get 2 today. I think we'll get 3 today. Today they started off and they said, Al Harris thinks we're gonna get 4 turnovers a day. So that tells me they see something on film. They see something, and Ben talked about it. He's like, these ain't luck. I know, and I had somebody hit me up. I ain't gonna say any names, but he lived in Houston, and it sounds with LaHill, and I was sitting, and it ends with Jahill, whatever you want to say. And he said, you know what? That was lucky because Daniels dropped the ball, and I said, hey man, pre-snap movement, things that guys who haven't played the game, these guys are professionals. They ain't just dropping the damn ball because it's wet. They're dropping the ball because they're rushing or they see something and you're trying to move too quickly. So
somebody flash in front of them.
Somebody flash in front of you. So I do think we've created, to your point, some of these turnovers by what I call punching it out or takeaways, and they're not accidental. And I'm super proud of what Al Harris and what Dennis Allen was able to do with this defense. We got a very, very organized unit, and we're beat up a little bit, and we're starting to get healthy. So that allows, Dennis to kind of get into his more what I call strategy and schematics of scheming things. He sent Kyler Gordon, Brisker on blitzes today, and I was like, wow, they were really getting after it. So super proud of what we did with the defense.
That's great, man. That is great. And he gets the game ball. That's in Pittsburgh they call it the petty ball. They call it the petty ball. You just being petty. So every week, Mike Tom, we talked about this, these revenge games. There's somebody on the team who got slighted, traded, cut, let go, didn't get drafted by. You know what I'm saying? Gave up only something. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even talk about the fact that Ben Johnson literally stood up the Washington Commanders before he and told him he wouldn't even come there because he didn't trust their program. We didn't talk about that last week. But again, it's always something. It's always something.
It is. It is, and this is the, like I said, it's like a soap opera. The storylines underneath the storylines,
they run deep.
They run deep, and I think this is one where the Dennis Allen angle, it meant a lot to him. It meant a lot for the players to help him kind of get through these moments. That's what the NFL season, man. It's such a long season. You gotta find these slights. You need something to get you through when your body's aching and you're tired and you need some motivation. It's hard to, sometimes channel that energy to a team that you really don't have we don't see the Saints a lot. We don't have a lot of history against the Saints.
That's right.
So it's not a divisional game, and it's not a huge matchup where, everybody's coming in. They're coming in at, 4-2 and we 4-2 and we battling. They kind of, coming in as a scrappy team. So yeah, like I said, you leaning on anything, man.
I think Ben Johnson in the post game, he was getting hype in the post game, by the way. I think Ben Johnson in the post game said that they hadn't beat the Saints in since 2008 or something weird. A long time.
It could be true, man. I know we beat them to go to the Super Bowl, and after that, my brain just shuts off with the Saints because the Drew Brees years, we normally struggled against them, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man. So
they actually beat us. Oh, they actually beat us in the playoffs with Trubisky. A couple of it was the wild card game at home. They beat us and kind of moved on. So. Yeah, struggling with the Saints.
Been a minute, yeah. So, going to wrap this one up here. The Bears get the W there. Just a quick, what did you think? Who would you say is the player of the game or the play of the game that really stood out the most to you? Was there any particular player or play that kind of jumped out to you, wrapping this one up?
Tremaine Edmonds. I thought he's been amazing the last couple of weeks at middle linebacker. He's with Edwards being out, and we lost Sewell, remember, with a concussion.
Yeah, he was out this week,
last week. He's been the new guy, and he had another interception today, had a sack, had a couple of tackles for loss, and as a leader, he has the green sticker, little green dot on his helmet. So, coming out of Buffalo, that was one of the things that was highly touted of him. He's young, man. He came to us. He was a baby. He's young. 24. I think he's running around.
Seems like he's been in the league a decade.
I know.
And he's 25 years old yet.
Yeah, and he's really growing into what I call the leader of the defense. I challenged you a little bit last week, and I was saying, who's the leader of the Cowboys defense? And I thought about the Bears, like who was our leader? Kevin Byard is a strong leader, and now I'm seeing Tremaine.
Yeah, I tell you, he got a good voice for it.
Yeah, I feel like Edmonds is really stepping up through the voice and the play. He continues to be consistent, and he's been one of the guys through what I call health and really being a glue guy. We talked about that. You get guys in and out the lineup and the secondary, and he's been able to what I quarterback our defense through some of the injuries that we've seen. We've had a lot of injuries in that secondary, and he's able, to kill calls, get calls back on, get guys lined up. And he had a play where he sacked Rattler in that third quarter when things were starting to tilt a little bit, when they got it close to 2014, and got us back on schedule on defense. And I think he's the guy for me that stood out today.
Beautiful. And that's a big deal right there, having him, step up and start to steady the defense and stuff like that, man. You got to start to become much more consistent there on defense. So that makes a lot of sense. Who do you have next? Who you got next?
Man, we got Baltimore. So
Baltimore.
Ravens, yeah. We got we got to go. I think we go to Baltimore. They're coming off a bye, and we talk about desperate. I want to say they're 1-4, 1-5. So I think they're 1-4.
Yeah, they got a rough record, but Nothing, nothing to get your offense back on track like the Baltimore Ravens.
I hope so. I hope, and just our luck, we get them when they get a little healthier. And like I said,
yeah, but man, y'all, just, like I'm gonna put a Charles Barkley, man. Y'all to send a limousine to go get them. Yeah. Y'all need to send a limousine and make sure they get here in prime fashion, ready to go.
Hey,
don't make sure they show up.
I'm trying not to. Again, my expectation for the Bears is we're starting to put it together. This is the first. We have a lot of firsts. I think this is the first game where we walk into a situation against a really, really, a storied franchise that is trying to get back on track. I liken it. I'm not saying they're Detroit. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying the all eyes will be on this game because we're on this 4-game winning streak. And I think everybody's seen us. All I've been hearing is you guys barely beat the Raiders. You beat up the Cowboys because everybody think the Cowboys suck. And then you beat up the Commanders, and the Commanders all beat up. So I think this is a game where people are actually like, how good are you? If you can go and beat the Ravens, it'll give us some credibility. But I also know they're super desperate to keep pace. Cincinnati,
you're gonna get their best shot for sure. They don't have a lot of margins for error, so you're gonna get their best shot.
Within 10 days, Cincinnati's fate changed. You got the Steelers that's rolling, and Cleveland, I want to say, beat up on Miami today. So that division is starting to sprint a little bit, right? So they know,
closing.
Yeah, they know
they're in last place. I'm pretty sure Baltimore's in last place.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're in last place, and it's almost the last ditch effort before they really look at this season and say,
it's just not our year.
Yeah, it's just too far gone. So I expect
that's gonna be interesting, man. That'll definitely be interesting. Definitely looking forward to that, and there'll be some more storylines and Roquan Smith and so forth and so on. So there'll always be a couple of storylines in there to speak about.
So before we leave my game, let me go ahead and let me hit my drum line. All right. I'm done.
How could you, man?
Let's go. Let's talk some Cowboys, man.
You could have played a better version of that's a damn 1950s version of the damn song. You could have played something with a little synthesizer or something.
I don't want to get us again. I got to keep these videos up, man. This music copyright stuff will get you taken down, man.
I know. Yeah. They are trying to shoot us down, man. So So the Saints are marching their ass back home. I get it.
Send them home.
You know me. I ain't never like the Saints. I told you I don't like them, so it don't bother me. And lose one ounce of sleep on them. They get on my nerves. So, okay. So we wrap that up. We roll forward to the second half of the day. Yeah. The late game window. You had the Commanders traveling on the road, coming off of a loss to the Bears on Monday night, and going to Dallas. So with this game, you have an NFC matchup, a clash there. This is the first time that Jaden Daniels and Dak Prescott are playing against each other because Dak got injured last year, and so they didn't get to play each other. And so there's Dak Prescott is literally like 9-11. 9 out of 11, 9-2 versus the Commanders. He has the second best, most winning record against the division, other than Patrick Mahomes in the history of the NFL. In the history, so he owns the division. The problem is he doesn't always be healthy because if you're like, well, then why don't the Cowboys always win the division? Because sometimes Dak is hurt and they don't win the division.
Right.
And so but everyone's also saying, well, yeah, but this is JJ Daniels. So this is not the same old Commanders. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the backdrop there. You also have a lot of injuries. So you got the Commanders limping in. Debo Samuel out with a heel. Noah Brown out. Terry McLaurin out with
Ooh.
a quadricep. So you got your three best offensive players out. You also have
Hey,
um,
hold on. I'm
your
sorry. I know you're setting it up, but man, the Flus flew down to Haiti, man. He was in New Orleans, man. He got the sticky
he got
dogs
some
out, man.
he got some voodoo dolls. Did he go get did he go get some voodoo dolls for all them guys?
Hey, man, check Flus's offense, man. Flus got the whole offensive wide receiving course wiped out.
I think he started with the bobbleheads, and he started popping the bobbleheads and started cranking on their ankles and stuff. And they're like, man, we're gonna have to go deep into the voodoo, man. No,
Sorry,
no, no,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no, because the thing about this is you got Fluke's head kind of semi on the chopping block
Right.
because of the way Dallas' defense has been playing and playing so poor, 32nd to 31st in almost every category. And
Yes.
so, they're looking for a lifeline. So you got the number one rated offense
Mm-hmm.
coming, and then you got the 32nd worst defense. And so the Cowboys have had more lead changes than any team. And it makes sense. The offense is so good that they can score. The defense is so bad that they give it right back up. So lead change, lead change, lead change. This is what the Cowboys are going into this game. And that's the backdrop there. And so obviously you have a division game as well. And so all of this is at stake
Yeah.
with this game on the line and second place in the division. We were hoping to have the Eagles fall to the Vikings, but that didn't happen because that would have put one of these teams within a half a game of first place. So
Wow.
a lot going on, a lot of moving and shaking. The Giants are playing well, so they're kind of breathing on your back. So there's a
Yeah.
lot going on here going into this game.
Yeah.
And you're looking at a game that ended up being 44-22. So we'll talk a little bit about how we got there.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of peaks and valleys with this game. A lot of ups and downs with this game. When you look at Washington's offense going up against Dallas's defense, that's kind of a lot of what people thought was going to be the fulcrum of this game because no one knew what Dallas's defense was going to be. Oh, by the way, the underlying story of Trayvon Diggs having a concussion somehow outside of football and having to sit out.
Yeah.
So random the day before, right, on Friday. So you have him sitting out. And so now, with Debo out, with Terry out, with Noah out, with the Cowboys having enough help in the secondary to defend them.
Yeah.
And what did you think of the offense of Washington from what you saw in the game, given the fact that they were pretty much very limited, out there with the wheels kind of shaky as far as the weapons that they had.
Yeah, this was a game where when I saw the injury report come out, I think late last night, where they said Debo was out.
That was the one that was the wild card. Debo was out.
Yeah, when Debo was out, I just I'm like, it's got to be a Jaden Daniels, or bust game. They just don't have enough offensive talent to keep pace with you guys, right? So it's almost like
even with the bad defense, right?
Right. It's like either his legend in the back of my mind. I'm like, Jesus, man, if he wins tomorrow, the legend of Jaden Dan, we had talked about, it's already gotten out of control. I'm like, it's going to be even worse if he finds a way to, will a win.
Keep pace with the offense, with the Cowboys offense.
Right?
Yeah.
So, offensively, they just didn't have the horses. They had Ertz, they had McCaffrey. Bill.
Luke McCaffrey.
They had Luke McCaffrey, and they had Bill and Nichols back there running back. I saw Chosen, and it made me laugh. I forgot he was in there.
Rodriguez at running back. Nichols is out. Nichols is gone, right? Nichols is out. Yeah.
And then they had Chosen
Yeah.
out there. And I think they
Yeah.
had Nichols out there. But Chosen
You're right.
was out there. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. This is just from a Flus. If you can't get it done today, then with the number one offense in the Super Bowl, what I call contending offense, if you can't get it done today, I expected him. You got your guys' bye is not for another 2 weeks, I think. But I'm like, yeah, you pretty much go fast track to them making a decision to get you up out of there, because piggybacking off of your time in Chicago, how you just couldn't get it done and you weren't organized to this. I just didn't think he could have a bad day at the office with that defense, and to his credit, they stood up. Your defense, and y'all got a what I call y'all had a really, really what I call great day schematically for Jaden. You guys pressured him. You went a little bit more man, and I expected to see that, and I expected to see you guys be able to collapse the pocket just because they don't have the talent on the edges. Ertz was probably his primary receiver who got most of those targets, but in the end, they just didn't have enough horses to put a game plan together to keep pace. Because once you guys start to stretch that lead a little bit and force them to be one-dimensional, we're going to have a conversation about Jaden Daniels and his passing ability and how healthy he can stay, because you guys touched him up, right? We got to him. So that's now his right hammy, whatever, groin. I don't know what that was he hurt today, and a left knee in this season. And he's a slight guy, and he's holding that ball, and he's extending plays, and he's running all these this college-style offense. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it through this season or his career playing this style of offense much longer.
And this is why the NFL is like a living, breathing organism that adjusts and change. There is no scenario in which teams don't find a way to adjust to you, to figure out a way to offset what you do if it's within possible. I.e. the tush push, which for some reason no one can stop, and we will have a conversation about that as well.
Hold on. Did you see how the Vikings played that today?
Well, I mean, the Vikings they did a little something.
They had a guy. They had a guy that's lay on the ground in front of the ball, man, where you can't get underneath him. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But go ahead, Daniels. In that style, you were saying the league is a living, breathing organism, and you guys are able to see what we did to kind of corral, the running game a little bit, and they're not as potent on offense, and they always won't be that depleted. But I do think it's starting to. You only get a little slower. Look at Lamar. We talked about Lamar. He's still a hell of an athlete. But he's not as explosive as he was two years ago.
Yeah, and that's the difference, and that's where you look at these games and you start to see it's the league just kind of catching up and closing in. And I don't want to, kick Daniels while he's down per se because of the injuries.
I will.
Right here.
You don't have to. I will. They talk about this kid like he the holy grail and he can't be beat and he this and that. No, you show me you can do it from the pocket without all that tricky dicky, 15. Man.
And they had this thing. First of all, never trust a guy who shoots basketballs before the game. So on a football field. So that's number one.
We got CJ Stroud tomorrow night, so we're gonna see if he's doing that.
We're gonna see if he's playing with the basketball. And then the other thing that they said was in the offseason was that Daniels uses virtual reality to watch his game. So he plays the game in his head through virtual reality. And I think that's all fun and good and dandy and stuff like that. It does not take into effect of what you're dealing with when the bullets are really flying out there and there's guys coming at you and shooting in at you. So when y'all look at this game and he just the walls just kind of closed in. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have a problem or an injury with the offensive line and the running game. So in that situation, they were supposed to still be able to run the ball, and they could not. And once they could not run the ball, they thought they were going to be able to do that and then play off of that. Once they were not able to do that, then all of a sudden the misdirection, the eye candy,
Right.
the playing with your eyes and stuff, that goes away. And then I think Fluke's also playing so much more man. None of that really matters. If you're manning someone up, you're not going to get confused with the eye candy and run out of your zone and leave a gaping hole somewhere for
Mm-hmm.
James Daniels. None of that was there. That just wasn't
No,
there this time.
and Flus, when as the Bears head coach, when we played the Commanders, he put a damn good game plan together. We lost with the
Yeah,
Hail Mary, but
yeah,
I do think assignment sound, what I call hits principles that Flus likes to lean into with his schematics, carried over very well. You couple that with the fact where he threw in a few wrinkles and
yeah.
brought a guy into the box and got ahead on earlier. I saw you guys got them in long distance down and situations, which I
Mhm.
think you guys had been. We talked about it last week where you guys played on your heels. I think you played on your toes this week and really started to flip that switch, which I hope continues to be a message that goes through that defensive room. Hey, you gave up a little bit today, 22 points, but I think the reward of letting those guys, get a little stickier and have them involved in the game and the plays, as opposed to covering, dropping in zone and kind of letting things kind of dictate to you, pay some positive dividends. I'll put it that way. So
And I think what they did was the guys on defense bought themselves some more snaps in man to man. They bought
yeah.
themselves a little bit more trust and a little bit more comfort level for Flus to
Mm-hmm.
say we can do a little bit more of this.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys try to learn these zone principles and put them together. Let's do
Right.
so. A couple of other changes. Donovan Wilson pretty much stayed in the box.
Yes.
Um, you didn't have Trayvon Diggs, so you had um, Marquise uh, Bridges playing corner, and he's a long corner. He's a long corner, so he was able to do well. And actually, Kyer Elam is a much better man-to-man guy. He's better at that. He doesn't do
It
well when
is.
he has to look in his zones and stuff. So he did better.
Mm-hmm.
They got Mariota out of the pocket and got him to throw against the grain, and this is what Deron Bland does. He's a pick six machine.
Yes.
If you're gonna make Aaron passes out to the flat, he's gonna pick them off all day long.
I thought he played
So
really well. I thought Bland played one
yeah,
of his better games this year.
yeah,
He he set the tone, I think, around just
yeah,
with his physicality and
yeah.
with being
On the 2 point
correct.
play.
Yeah, and with his ball skills, that was an amazing interception that he took back and blew the game open.
Yep.
Again, to your point, I think we don't apologize for victories around here. We can't control. You
Yeah.
guys can't control who's healthy, who's not. Taking care of business is taking care of business, and I do think,
Yep.
Flus bought itself another week. Like I said, the defense bought them some snaps
Yep.
to show that they can be a little bit more aggressive and play some more aggressive style man-to-man zone dog blitz type things
Yep.
to
Yep.
create some opportunities to make plays on the ball. And
Yep.
we're going to have a conversation around, and we talked about it. Remember this offseason, we were talking before the season started. We were saying, hey, how many games can the Commanders, last year, what did they win? 8 one-score
Yeah.
games. And
Oh,
everybody talked about how great they were. And we said, what if that just drops off and kind of normalizes itself? Not even normalizes itself. What if it just ticks down from that 80 to 90% win percentage
yeah.
that they had to 50?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
look where we are. Look where they are now, right?
Yep.
You're not, and this wasn't a close game, but we're talking about, everything kind of going your way. This is the first time I think Jaden Daniels, he's a happy-go-lucky, smiling guy. He's
Yeah.
Kingsbury's been riding high. You got Quinn,
Yeah.
who's been riding high. This is the
Yeah.
first time we've seen them with some adversity in a division that's tightening the hell up, right?
Yep.
So ain't no easy wins. I got to go back and see. I'll go take a look at who they're supposed to be playing. But I know when he grabbed a hammy or whatever that was, and whatever he grabbed ain't gonna feel great tomorrow, and it's probably not gonna feel great in 4 or 5 days when I gotta go again, right? So
no. Let me tell you something. Their schedule is nothing nice there. It is not an easy schedule at all. So this is
right now.
When you
I'll look it up.
When you got the when you win 12 games, this is what happens. Your schedule changes quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, I know they have next Kansas City Chiefs.
And after that, we got the Seahawks.
Right. And so here you are looking at two teams that are not a game, and you're sitting there and you're trying to get healthy. And this is what the league is, man. So
and after that, they got Detroit.
So, you can be very quick. They could be on a 5. They could be on a you talking about a 4-game heater. They could be on a 5-game beater.
Yeah.
Quick.
And everybody who bet Commanders to go back to back as division champions, you ain't feeling so great today, are you? Because history told us that probably wasn't going to happen just because it hasn't been the normal trend in that division. But I think a lot of people forgot just how
the Eagles won the division, but I think most people were betting that the Commanders were going to come back this year and take it from the Eagles and take it from them. And it's just not how this works, man. It's hard to win in this league.
But that's what I was saying. They forgot how fluky, a lot of those, I call it fluky in the sense you rarely go into a season where you say, hey, man, I'm going to win, 6 one-possession, last possession games. That's just, you can't hang your hat on that. And I think everybody came into this season thinking it was just going to be more the same, and the NFL does not work that way.
I was where I was watching the game at. There were some random people that I did not know, and I was listening to their conversation. This was exactly what they said. They said the Commanders won so many games last year, by last minute plays. And everybody's like, I just question whether or not they can maintain that, and they just can't. So, when they were on defense, they were literally barbecue chicken, as Shaq would say. To use the term against this offense, because you get Tyler Booker back at offensive line, the offensive line getting healthy. Now you get CD coming back. Now you get Devontae Turpin coming back, and you already got your hands full with none of those guys. And now you bring those back along with Pickens, along with Ferguson, along with Javonte Williams. And now Jay Blue, it's just a plethora, treasure trove of talent there.
And you got CD Lamb back, and Pickens, CD Lamb, Ferguson, Prescott, Williams, Blue, Dak 21 of 30, 264, 70% completion rate, and 130 QBR, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And this is what I was talking about last week, man. This offense, when you guys are whole, are scary.
The handful, man.
Handful. I don't know. There's not a lot of teams that can handle this type of offensive firepower. And I'm gonna say Dak's ability to get you guys in the right plays and truly manage the game in the right way. Not again. You guys got some, we all got work to do, but I think the offense trending in this direction is going to be the norm for the rest of the year if you guys stay healthy, just because of the talent level and how well the pieces fit. This offense really fits well together. When Dak is able to distribute the way he can, distribute. I'm looking at the targets for Lamb, 8 targets, Pickens 6 targets, Ferguson 7 targets. Uh,
Yeah,
everybody
Toba
everybody's
yeah,
getting
Toba got a catch.
Toba got
Yeah.
he got 2 targets, but when you look at the distribution and the balance, right, of how you can attack a defense, when you guys you guys are a handful.
Yeah, and that's what this team is right now. That's the identity of this team. You asked about who the leader is on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
We're still working. We're still working on that. I'll get back to you on that. But on offense, it is clear.
Mm-hmm.
He is a leader among leaders with the way Dak Prescott is playing.
Right.
He's even willing to leave the pocket every once in a while and scramble for a first
Yeah.
down when it has to. And you talk about demoralizing. You got everything covered with all of those weapons, and then this dude leaves the pocket and just kind of lumbers down the field and gets you 8 yards. That is absolutely gut wrenching when you're on defense, because it's like, what are we going to do? There's nothing we can stop because we're already one man short on that, and so it's just it's a tough deal for Washington, and I'm here for it. I enjoy it.
I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast. Why? Because all we had to hear this last year is that dumbass Commander song they created and how good they are, and this is their first time really having to deal with a first place schedule. This is their first time being in the crosshairs, being hunted instead of sneaking up through the back door and robbing you blind, and then getting up out of the house, and then it's a situation where I'm curious to see how Jaden Daniels handles this, because this next 3-game stretch, even if they were playing great football, these are all games that they could lose, right?
Yep. You can lose all of them the same way. And last year, these were games that they were pulling out and winning. And this year, you can easily lose them. Number one, because the talent is better. You're playing better teams than you were playing last year. And then number two, you're not as healthy as you were. And number three, the teams know you better. And so this is how the margins have closed so quickly.
You can only run what I call a college style of offense so long in the NFL before the league starts to catch up on the tendencies, and they've seen the wrinkles, and that gets to a point to where you have to actually line up. And they were talking about it in the Bears game where they like, man, the Bears are repeating their plays. They're running inside zone, outside zone. And I'm saying, hell, Shanahan been repeating plays from his dad since the late 80s.
Right.
Bill Walsh. If I'm running inside zone and you can't do nothing about it, or outside zone, Terrell Davis didn't have a problem running that play over and over.
Right.
You think Bill Walsh had an issue with Roger Craig running outside and inside zone? So can you continue with a big ass knee brace on your left knee and your right hammy / groin, hip? Can you run RPOs? Can you run read option? No,
probably not. And then the thing about it, that's why I made that statement: living, breathing organism, because they're constantly trying to do the research and do the intel and do the scouting to try to get better and try to figure out where to catch up and close that gap. And the gap can be closed from talent. It can be closed from scheme. It can be closed from understanding. It can also be closed because you're just not as good. And sometimes it's all of those things. And it's like, man, how did this happen so quickly? So, not to pile on the Commanders in this situation, because we're covering the Cowboys, not them. But bottom line is, they were in a big disadvantage, and it showed. I mean, the Cowboys just moved the ball up and down the field. There was a couple, they stalled on a couple of drives, and the only thing they did was get it right back. And then that leads into the next thing is when you give the Cowboys the ball and you do your very, very best, and Cavante Turpin still gets you to the 35, 40-yard line, and then you get 2 first downs, and you're at the logo, and here comes this guy named Brandon Aubrey, and he kicks it, and it's the easiest looking 60-yard field goal you're ever going to see. It could have been 20.
Off swing, man.
I mean, you talk about a guy who literally was a soccer player, and he literally watched the games and said, I don't think this is that difficult. I think I can do that.
Shot. Right. Right.
let me give it a shot. And the next thing you know, he is just drilling it, and it's just beauty to watch. And we're gonna have to pay this guy, so I'm excited about it. But we're gonna have to
What
pay.
you say you got it when you say you have to? Oh, you're just talking about because he was on a 1 year deal. I'm assuming.
He's up for contract. He's up for extension right now, and he's
Yeah.
gonna probably be the highest paid kicker in the league.
Y'all can't catch a break, can you?
No, and this goes back into why people want to know why you had to let Michael Parsons go, because
Right.
it's a gift and a curse when you draft and you develop and find real talent, and then they come to fruition. You have to pay them to keep them,
Right.
and so if you don't have any talent, then you don't have to pay anybody. That's not a problem. But when you have guys that continually turn the corner, you want to keep them on your spot. You got to pay them, and he's up.
And this is one of those what I call negotiations where the Cowboys don't have much leverage.
There's no leverage. Tell me
no
what your argument is, other than just the market value. You're not going to be able to go way outside the market value, but he's still going to be, He'll probably make somewhere between $5 to $9 million a year, which is unheard of for a kicker. But
I think you guys have to soften the blow with the number of years to just, hey, we'll give you some elite job security to try to spread out that guaranteed money to where, you can kind of soften that blow a little bit, but quiet as kept. I think that negotiation is going to be short, clean, and sweet.
It has to be.
Because if you go in there with, any other agenda, it's not much for you guys to stand on.
No. How do you do it? And then the line of suitors that he has is unlimited. Is unlimited because it is very hard to find. You dealing with it with yourself. It's very hard to find a consistent kicker. It's one of those things you don't know you need it until you don't have it.
You guys, and this is different because you guys have it's almost I liken him to, you get a brand new car and you start getting all these amenities and bells and whistles, and I bought my wife a new truck, and that that thing will start massaging my back after 15 minutes, and I never had my back massaged doing a car ride, and I never knew I needed it.
Right.
But when you're hitting 61 yarders, when, like you said, when you have that in your arsenal offensively, in the back of your mind, and we talked about it, come play. And I just hope to God it's not against us. But there's a moment in the playoffs where that little green line where it says, field goal, the distance, and yours is somewhere near the 50,
right?
And you only need 20 yards to get there,
right? And it's only 22 seconds left in the game, and the other team thought that they didn't leave you enough time.
That's why I say that negotiation, short and sweet, because you can't put a price on that type of peace of mind offensively.
Yeah, and then Turpin is the other piece to that, because you kick off to him and he hits the sideline and gets you to the 40. So you literally need one first down. You literally just need to get the 10 yards, and you're like right there where you need to be at that spot, with almost no time going off the clock. Man, that's an incredible weapon to have with dudes that can win jump balls and and a tight end and stuff. So you have the pieces to actually get to completion. The problem is still with Cowboys. Can they defend well enough to keep themselves in a position to do so? And that's what we're going to find out.
Well,
you're going forward.
We're not apologizing for victories, but the reality is, everybody's not going to be down in top 3 receivers. Everybody's not going to be down, those types of pieces. So I forget who you guys got next. I should probably remember. I think it's Denver. So that'll be a good test for you guys. To see, like you said, if you can take some of these positive reps on defense and transfer them over to Denver.
Well, when we talk about the coaches and how that looks as far as the games are concerned, and the Cowboys will be traveling to Denver,
Yeah.
I don't want to harp too much. We talked about Flus and the importance of this game for him, the things that he did. We already know how Schottenheimer does as far as the offense he runs. He's got a great system that he's starting to implement. You're seeing the fruits of that labor with the system, there. But my question is simple here. Um, do you think
Mm-hmm.
that the Commanders and Cliff Queensberry.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I've been here all week. And Cliff Queensberry, i.e., Cliff Kingsbury, will. Do you think that they have a system? We talk about system. Do you think they have a system that is sustainable, given going forward? Given what you have with your franchise quarterback, you're trying to keep him healthy. The league is catching up. We saw this in Arizona, where after a couple of years, that thing got a little stale there, and they were just not able to keep it going.
Yeah.
And he had to go. He's hoping to pawn this into a coaching job, but I think this feels like Cinderella here at midnight. Here, if this thing doesn't turn around, the air is going to come out of the balloon on whether or not this offense is sustainable, and then his head coaching opportunity is not going to be there. So, but I'm going to ask you: do you see that as you project forward? We're in the predicting business over here. We don't just speak about things that are have already occurred. We like to speak and project. Can you see a scenario where the Commanders have to part ways with their offensive coordinator, and now Jaden Daniels is learning a new system because this system is not going to be sustainable for his health and as far as their production? Or is it just that they need their receivers back and they get everybody back, and if they got Scary Terry and Debo and everyone, and they're a fine-tuned machine, and it doesn't matter?
Yes, to both, right?
Okay.
I think eventually the system where it runs its course, and historically we've seen it run its course, just because of what really makes it tick and what really makes it go is the element of the quarterback run. And as you continue to deploy and execute this style of offense, you saw it with Kyler Murray, right? If we go back and look with the Cliff years, his physical, his health started to wane, and it got to a point to where he just couldn't what I call be a true run threat like he used to. Then
he ended up with an ACL too.
Correct. So you look at Jaden, he's a smaller guy. He had a case of the ribs. The first year they ended up, like I said, kind of finding a way to work through it, and they won some games they probably should have lost, and they got hot. I give it to them. But you come into this season, and again, you got a big ass knee brace on your left knee. You missed 2 games. All those crossing routes and all of those what I call college style plays. I do think you end up you play a more physical brand of football, and the more games you play, it impacts how effective you can be, right? And Scary Terry held out. He got a muscle strain, some soft tissue stuff going on. Debo's been a guy.
Which is what happens when you don't go to camp.
Right. You got Scary Terry. You got Debo, who's he never found a damn training. He never found a training table he didn't love. The layup or cold tub. He didn't like or hot tub to get into.
Yeah, he do get injured. His style of play makes him injury prone.
Right. Then you throw Noah Brown in the mix, and he's banged up. And this isn't an offense. And this is where we talk about systems. We touched on systems last year. This isn't an offense that bodes well to systemic football because it takes timing. It takes, guys knowing, exactly where to be at the right time. You and I both played in the option system. The more moving pieces you have in your personnel, the less is watering your product down, right?
Yeah.
And you can get away with it for a little bit, but as those parts start to miss games together, and you hit the nail on the head. They're not playing Tennessee. They're not playing, the damn the New England Patriots that's been beat up, and they're good
Right.
this year, but historically, last couple years they've been
with
bad.
a rookie quarterback.
With a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Now they got down Mahomes, the Chargers, and the damn Detroit Lions breathing down their necks. Right. And that's going to be what I call their norm. So when you ask me, do I see it being consistent? No. The defense, the NFL is a living, breathing organism. And the more you start taking away, it's like everything else. Whereas the Bears are struggling early now because they're building into an offense, right? The Cowboys would, kind of build into their offense, and you're like, man, they really, came on like gangbusters. I feel like Cliff's offense does the opposite. It starts off like gangbusters, and then it just starts to kind of
diminishing returns.
Yeah,
diminishing returns.
All diminishing returns because you can only run so many tricky, read option plays to get somebody kind of free and open. So Jaden Daniels is a small guy. He's super slight, and his style of play, he's been lucky where he's taken some hits, and we'd be like, "Woo!" That hit he took against Green Bay. He's a millisecond from laying on the table, having a surgery, and being done. Michael Parsons rushed him so quickly, he left the pocket and never saw the guy who hit him in his knee. And they won't come out and say it. He tore something in that knee. I know he tore something because they wouldn't have that big ass brace on his knee. And I keep saying big ass brace. You don't see a big ass brace like that for a guy. Last time we saw it in Washington, who was it on? Damn, RG3. Tell us they tried to tell us.
Knee.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. No, it's a huge deal that he's got that brace on, and he's continuing to run this offense and he's a leggy guy. So any noise and any shrapnel falling around his legs, he's not going to stay consistent in his mechanics to continue to hang in there because as those injuries pile up, as guys falling on his legs.
He's got to get out the pocket. He's not going to stay in that pocket, man.
He's not going to stay in that pocket.
Yeah, and the defense knows it. And that's, you could see today they flushed him out, put him in those situations. And then when he stayed in the pocket, he got his leg caught up, and unfortunately, nobody was trying to injure him. It's just the way the play went. Actually, nobody even hit him. He twisted. He hurt his hamstring trying to avoid the hit and falling down from the impact. But that's what happens, And when you have one of your legs compromised, everyone knows that your balance is off, and you overcompensate from one to the other, and that's where you have other injuries occur. So,
but how many times have we? Yeah, but sorry, I cut you off. But how many times do we see him over the last 20 games? We're like, oh my God, he stepped out of that tackle. He didn't step out of that one. They called him, and when you went to go and step out of it, nah, your leg stays here. Your leg stayed there. Your body, tried to get out of it, but eventually that style of play catches up to you. And like I said, we're not here to talk about the Commanders. We're here to talk about Dallas. But I
asked about the coaches, and that's why
I was saying, that's in this NFC East, it's going to be a huge point of contention because this season can go very left quickly for them if these injuries continue to pile up.
Look, the next 4 games, you lose them, and you're looking at a 3-7, a 3-7 or 3-8 type of schedule, and you still haven't circled back around to play the NFC East the second time, in which now, oh, by the way, the Giants don't suck anymore. And the Cowboys have already beat you, so you already lost that tiebreaker, and you haven't played the Eagles yet, so you still got to play them twice. Your schedule is not even getting to the medium schedule when it comes to the divisional games. You're really supposed to make your hay right now,
right,
and put yourself in position to have yourself some cushion, and that's gone.
And you know what else is gone? You know what else is gone? Practice time, guys.
Yeah.
If my hammy's sore, tell me I ain't running that deep over at 100%. If my heel hurts and Terry's groin hurts, that's what we're seeing now, which is You can't and that's the part of the diminishing returns is you look up and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is walkthroughs where it used to be, actual rep time, right?
Yeah.
And you're getting against these high level defenses, and you haven't put
not sharp enough, man.
Yeah, you're not sharp
enough. They're an older team. This is one of the things too. Also, man, the football is, NFL is a young man's game, and so the Cowboys has actually the second youngest team in the NFL. They people think their own team because of Dak Prescott, right. But the entire offensive line is young. A lot of the guys in the secondary are young. CD's on his first deal and stuff. Pickens is a new guy, so the team is a young team, and injuries happen no matter what, but you recover a lot better and a lot faster when you're younger.
Of course, I'm laughing because I used to know all the Cowboys players just off the top of my head, not because of, and I had no true affiliation with the Cowboys other than
they're on TV a lot though.
They're on TV a lot, and now all these Zigos and Izarukus, I'm like Leafu.
Right. Yeah, they're all young guys. They're all the whole defense. And that's another thing. It's like, why is your team bad? Well, you got a lot of young players too, right. And so Leafau was a young guy. Shamar James is a rookie. Leafau is a second-year guy. Ezra Rocco's a rookie. Your corners are in their mid-20s. They're like the OGs. And so. Young. This is a young man's game, and so this is what you have to do. And so,
I got a quick question. Sorry, I got a really quick question. This Russian attack. I feel like you guys are on your Russian attack. What do you think? What do you think you guys did a little differently there with Williams, man?
Well, I'll say what we did do different versus last week. The reason why Carolina was able to stymie Dallas's running attack last week. They were able to penetrate, especially at the guard and the center position with Brock Hoffman and TJ Bass, who are backups. Right. They're good. They could start for a lot of teams, but they're backups, right? Yeah. So they're kind of like a 1.5 instead of a 1 or a 2. They're like a 1.5, right? And because Carolina has such physical guys up front, they were just able to penetrate and break up the precision of the pin and pull, the double teams, and they just kind of put the defense, the offensive line in bad positions. Number one, Tyler Booker came back, okay, and that's a strong. He's a rookie. He's a strong dude, bro.
Academy, Alabama.
Yeah.
To get him back, that helps, man.
Yeah, so all of a sudden you're not as leaky when you're trying to pull and double team. Also, he doesn't need as much help, so you don't have to help off of him. And so now you got your center isn't as physical as your starting center, but he's the only one. And then so now that changes everything. And so also because of Lamb and his presence, you have to have two on the roof.
Out of there. Yeah, you got to get your safeties back.
Get the safeties out of there. So all of a sudden, those rush lanes for Williams and even Blue averaged 4.5 yards a carry this time. So all of a sudden, that changes everything, and that's how the game. It's a game of inches. You can't stop them from penetrating. All of a sudden, you can't run the ball. Once you stop those leaks, and across the front of the line, and all of a sudden, you're able to have all types of success running the ball and do so. So that's what changed that. And once you're able to do that, it's just like pick your poison, man. The Cowboys scored right before halftime again, right? And they did it with a run again, handing the ball off from 40 yards out. And letting Javonte Williams, when the defense is laying back because they're trying to defend the end zone and not give up anything big, and the Dallas is like, well, we'll just hand it to Javonte Williams because if he breaks one tackle, there's no one left.
Right.
It's a tough situation to be in if you're on the defense. I can tell you that.
Right. And that's the thing. That's why I wanted to kind of ask you about it and lean into it a little bit because with with that type of passing attack, and then you starting to see that running game come alive. This is something that you guys can lean on. I'm looking at the NFC East, and quiet as kept, you guys, sit second place.
Yeah.
With a lot of noise, a lot of moving pieces, and you end up in a great spot. We all know Philly is leading the division right now at 5-2, but when you look at the wild card situation and you look at, like you said, every win counts.
Yeah.
You guys not in a bad spot, 7 games into the season at all.
No. And now you're sitting there, you're looking at, okay, where your wins coming from. So the Cowboys have the Broncos next. They travel to Denver. Denver coming off a big win. They scored 33 points in fourth quarter, in one quarter, to come back and beat the New York Giants.
We can't get a read on this Denver team, man. We've been trying to figure them out all year, and it feels like they kind of overplaying over their heads a little bit, and just I'll say it.
Right.
They lucked into some advantageous wins this year. The Giants giving up down, it's very similar to us what we did against Minnesota, the first game of the season, where you just implode in the fourth quarter. I want to say they scored almost over 20, 30 points. What was it, 25 points in the fourth quarter? And a game-winning kick. Yeah,
33.
So maybe the Giants are. I don't know how you read that. Do you kind of take that as my young guys got us in the fight, or is this a bad loss?
I look at it and I say, just projecting with Denver, Denver fought and got back in the game. They scored, and so the Giants are a young team that can't handle the success. And you have to keep attacking and play to win. And maybe they shouldn't. I also think that things kind of level themselves out. I don't think the Giants were 2 or 3 touchdowns better than Denver. Denver went for it on the goal line and didn't get it. They gambled instead of kicking the field goal and went for it and didn't. They got held out. So they did some things to kind of self-inflict themselves as far as that's concerned. But you look at it, and the Giants are 2 touchdowns better than Denver, so that had to level out. Mm-hmm. And you just don't think it's going to happen in one quarter. You just don't think there's enough possessions left. But they got turnovers, and they got extra possessions, out of it. So I'm hoping that Denver is, kind of coming off of a high, and emotionally drained from that. It was a big weekend. They were celebrating their 50 Super Bowl 50 championship team and the Demaryius Thomas thing. So a lot to. So we'll see if maybe they're flat or something like that. But Cowboys will have their work cut out once again when it comes down to it. The Denver's a team that's beatable, but it's going to be another tough game, and that's what the NFL is every week, man. New challenge.
So they scored 33 in the fourth, right?
Correct.
And that's an outlier. I'll say it. But you brought something else up, and we'll get into Denver and the Cowboys. Kind of preview. Our stuff this week, because it's already Sunday.
Later in the week.
Before I forget, real quick. Ben Johnson, and I said it last week, we're still trying to get used to this whole, and you mentioned it, what made me think of it was the Broncos going for it, on fourth down and not getting it. And you and I old school guys who never go broke taking a profit, right? And why go forward like this, and in situations where you can put a little money in the bank and start to build these leads. The NFL is changed so much now to where I think we played video. We didn't even play video game. I mean, we played a lot of Madden together, and going for fourth down was a big moment. Like you kind of do or die. And
they made you pay for it too.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the reason why I brought it up, and I'll shorten it up. I went and looked at it because you brought it up, which was around the fourth down conversions and how is it helping or hurting the team. And the
Yeah.
Bears are actually a team we haven't gotten many. We're probably on the lower end where we 2 or 6 or something on
Mm-hmm.
fourth down conversions, but the metric shows that it hasn't hurt us because of
Mm-hmm.
where you're going for it and how you're going for it. So I do think we're old in that way of maybe our thinking and having to adjust and shift with why these coaches are going for it. I don't think we will
Yeah.
ever agree with their analysis and their
Yeah.
execution of it, because
Yeah.
I think the metrics be damned. I know going up 9 is better than being down
Yeah. Going up. Yeah.
going up only
6.
being up 2 or
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I said all that to say the way we watch these games and the way these games are being played, it's almost like you get a lot of opportunities to win or lose a game. Whereas before, those opportunities, because you would kick, because you would take your 3, and because you build your lead, the game just wasn't as exciting because it's almost like a tidal wave, right? You go up 3, sometimes, another field goal, it's like 12-3, and then you score a touchdown, and you're like, man, this game just blew itself right open. As opposed to now, where you get a team like Denver, where they look to be out of it, and then all of a sudden they're going for 2. They put up 33 points in the fourth because of that aggressive style, and this is where it comes back to help you, right? Because you're just so used to playing it. And I think, historically, you would see teams just not be prepared for these types of comebacks. So holistically, I think we have to change our mindset around how comfortable we feel. And even in that Bears Saints game, I didn't feel great. We're up 20-3, and I'm like, sheesh, man, this game, it's almost like the 2-point conversion and he's going for fourth down is the equivalent to the 3-pointers, how it evolved in NBA, right? Where no lead was safe, and we started to enter that space in the NFL. So I thought it was just interesting to how we spoke about it. And I went and looked, and I'm like, yeah, man, the Bears actually are one of the teams who haven't been adversely impacted by going forward on fourth down, which I never would have thought.
And I think there's a time and space for looking at when and who you have. Like, for instance, when Coach Staley was with the Chargers, and he has a first and second year quarterback, okay, and you're developing your team and your offense, you don't have the horses to be going for it. You know what I mean? You don't have the system in place. You don't have the experience at quarterback. You don't have the dudes on the edges to just know that this is a higher probability. I do understand, Detroit, especially last year, because they had so much momentum going. It made sense given who you have at quarterback and who your OC is and who your receivers are. I can look at Dallas and I can trust that Dak is going to make a good decision most of the time and put you in the right position and give you a good chance to take what the defense gives you. And so each situation is very specific when it comes down to it. And I think you got to take that into account. I really do, but I think a tougher part for me is when Denver's down like that, of course. But when you're early in the game, to me, that's when I think it's counterproductive, because it's like you're pretending as though you're not going to get another possession. Like, you're not going to be back down here. Right. And to me, I don't get that. It's like, we're taking this 3. We can come back down here and get 7 the next time, but we'll be back down here again and again and again. Versus you saying, look, man, this might be our only chance to get in the end zone, so we got to try it. I don't get that one. And so
that's a great
point. Those are the ones I'm trying to reason through.
Reconcile. I think you guys are going to lean into the latter, what you said, which is you guys do have the personnel, you have the coaching, and you have the play calling. I think to where you guys can be more aggressive with these types of decisions. I think for the Bears, we need to lean away from it a little bit and take some points. And
young quarterback.
Young quarterback. We actually, and this is the interesting part, we actually closed the game out on the fourth down. So we're driving in the red zone, and 4th and 2, and Ben Johnson makes the decision not to kick a field goal, and we go for it on 4th down, and we complete a little 7 yards, 5-6 yard pass, whatever that was, to Coast and Loveland, and then we knee it out. We in victory formation. So the psyche, right, which is something that, again, Ben Johnson is coming in with the mindset of, hey, we're going in with no doubt. We ain't running a kicker out here. When we get in these situations, we're going to go for it. To your point, we saw Brandon Staley, crash and burn with that same mentality, because it
didn't have it in place to do such a thing.
It'll kill you. All right, so we jumped the gun. I think we kind of talked about. I don't know if we fully closed out the Cowboys and Commanders.
Well, the only thing I have left with the Cowboys is this, just kind of the player that I thought, made a big jump today and made a big difference today. I got, the offense is so explosive and stuff, but they're kind of a given. So I'm going with a defensive player. Okay. And the difference between last week and this week for Murray.
Oh man. You read
the difference between Murray last week and this week, he had the green dot this week. It was night and day. I mean, he was so much better this week. I mean, he was so sound. And the thing about Murray is he's a big, strong dude. He's a big physical. He's a thumper. But thumping is useless if you're out of position or a step late or missing the read or not where you're supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah, or eyes in the wrong place. And he just was downhill. I mean, just cleaning up stuff. But he was so physical and just where he was supposed to be, man. I couldn't believe how much better he was.
9 tackles, 6 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss.
That's a great stat line.
Amazing.
Kenneth Murray was so much better. I mean, so much better. If he played like that last week, there's no way Carolina wins that game. Because the drive that he would have stopped by himself just getting a tackle.
I agree. And this is where we talk about, for you, our offense, the Bears offense is doing this. Your defense is doing this. Yes. So it's the opposite, right? Where your offense is humming, our defense is humming. Your defense is volatile and our offense is volatile. So maybe both you and I need to kind of just settle into. I'm serious. Just settle into that. It's going to take some time for these guys.
It is. It's a long season. It took time. Yeah,
long season for them to kind of catch up. And you're right. Coming out of that game, I'm sure Murray wasn't happy with that performance. I'm sure. No, and this is the thing.
The tape had to be so bad.
Oh man, a lot of people, if I could take a camera to your office and show how many reports you missed and how many, emails you fumbled throughout the week. Nobody loves that type of critical, feedback happens immediately in an NFL. These guys are prideful and they're used to being successful. So I tip my hat to Murray. We singled him out, and we talked about him last week about just the poor play that we've seen from him all week. And I do think there's a level of, tipping your hat. This is where we, again, to your coaching staff, to correct and get him in a situation to where they made it. I don't know if they made it a little bit easier with some read keys and simplify some things to let him play a little faster. But he looked like a new guy today. I tell you.
And it may have been just simply he's not normally the green dot. Okay, Sanborn is the green dot, and so it may have just been he usually plays off ball linebacker. Now you have him as the center point in the middle with the green dot, and he just was not comfortable. And maybe from one week to the next, he got better. Yeah. And and got a little bit more aware of his reads and was able to get to where he wanted to be. Because I never see. I mean, dude, it was so much better. I mean, he was all over the place. He got injured. Twisted an ankle or something, came back and he still was balling. I'm like, bro, where was this? the last couple of games, you were lost out there.
Well, remember what we
I
talked
mean,
about?
lost.
Reps, right? And when you see it in live, you see those live bullets. And the NFL is unforgiving, right? So you get guys who you either learn really quickly or you get replaced. And I think, the meetings this week in Dallas, if I was a fly on the wall, I'm sure defensively, they were extremely intense around, what needed to happen. And you get those types of performances from guys. Obviously, you don't need, Flus is not a yeller screamer.
No.
So I don't think that was happening. But I do think, like you said, that film and the embarrassment of what you put on tape, the accountability.
Yeah.
I think you can be proud of Murray today because he grew up a little bit today, right? And that's with your young guys. You always want to see see them get through the tough times because there's going to be another tough situation that you're going to need to see him get through. But to see him respond in a positive way and to build that, it's the callous, right? When we talk about who's your leader, these are moments that build what I call winning habits and leaders, positive leadership moments where you can lean into say, hey, we got a lot of positive reps on tape. Denver's going to pose some what I call schematic situations that test his eye discipline, that's going to test his read keys, that's going to test his toughness. So we'll see, Sunday if it carries over. But for today, big jump to a higher level game than what he played against Carolina for sure.
Yeah, and I think that that combination of Murray, a young Shamar James, and then Maris Leopold, those are your three most athletic linebackers, and they have the most upside as far as that. They can have bust, but you're getting the upside. You're getting Leopold getting a peanut punch and getting a sack and making a big play. You got the speed of James and stuff. And so at some point, those young guys have to grow up. And you got to let them play through some of those negative plays to do so. And you just hope it doesn't kill you and get you blown off the field. And the thing is, if you can make it a game like today and get better, then you build off that and get into next week. And you look up, and then they got 5-6 games under their belt. Right. And they actually know what's going on, and they start to give you less and less of the negative plays and keep the consistency going, along with the flash of the speed and athleticism. So that was a big one for me, and wrapping this one up, man. It's been good. We don't have every week, but it's been a while since we had a week where both teams won.
Hey, man. Hey, this was my view this morning. I got for my workout. I was looking down this road, man. I started my run and I looked and I said, you know what? Both our roads, they started off unpaved and a little, little rocky, a little shaky. And now we got some asphalt down, man. We got some open road here. We gotta be grateful for, right? Like I said, you guys sit in second place in the division.
There's a real path there now.
There's a real path where you control your own destiny. The Bears, like I said, we're on a 4-game heater, building and winning despite our offense not being where we wanted to be. There are always things we want to fix. Yeah. But everything is in front of us, bro. It's all in front of us. So it don't suck. It don't suck. So I'll say my Ben Johnson, how we end every damn win. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good gets better and your better gets best.
It's best. Yep.
So keep fighting.
Yeah. That's what it is, my man. That's what it is. So for those of you who are still on our live, appreciate you jumping in on with us.
Yeah, hanging in with us.
Late night call. This will be rebroadcast on our platforms, and please remember to like and share, subscribe. on our YouTube channel, HM Sports Academy. This is the HM Sports Academy. I am Mo, the M in HM, and that is Harry, the H in HM. And we are here. We're growing this thing here. We want to have an audience that is responsive and that is active. So we'll get to the point where we start to interact with our audience. Mm-hmm. But as we grow this channel, we certainly appreciate any support that we get with your like and your shares and your subscribes onto our Facebook channel, our YouTube channel, following us on Instagram and so forth and so on, all of the various platforms. But we got to move on. We'll be getting into next week, and we'll start doing some previews. We'll be on here also to talk some NBA here. Got to get ready for the season.
Man, that came quick. NBA season came quick, man. We right here with NBA.
For sure.
We're gonna find the time for all this stuff.
We're gonna have to squeeze it in. We're gonna have to squeeze it in because this is what we do, right? And there's people who need to hear this. They need to hear what's going on. So we're gonna talk about Scatia, whatever the hell it is LeBron got. We're gonna talk about some Luka and some Reeves and some JJ and all this other stuff. We're gonna get into it. We love talking hoops, bro. We love talking hoops. So we're gonna get into it. And we hope that you are alongside with us for this ride. And we certainly appreciate all the support that we have when it comes to our channel, the H&M Sports Academy. Partner, you got anything else on the way out? I'm getting ready to close this thing out.
Nah, man. I'm just, like I said, I'm excited. We go ahead and close this one out. Both of us got big weeks next week, man. I feel like every week gets bigger. Every bigger. The stakes get a little bit higher. So Denver and Baltimore. Let's go. And the Lakers kicking off. Yeah, we got probably do a little Lakers. We'll talk a little Lakers because they're kicking off. So another great night of football, another great day of football, and we got more to come. So I'm excited.
All right. For Harry, this is Mo. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you soon.